Welcome to Men, Sex, and Tantra.
Discover what your parents, porn, and religion never taught you about being a man and having extraordinary sex. Get ready to have your mind blown and your world rocked. All right, and we are back. In last episode with Sniper, we were kind of starting to dive. We went from Bar Kings and the downside of that, and we're starting to dive into this whole idea of dating and what makes a great date and how much money you should spend on a date and what we're reading about in the world and what people are telling you about. Take her on an adventure, make sure you plan the great fabulous date, and all these things could actually be leading you astray, making you spend a ton of money, not getting where you really want to go, and focusing on the wrong things. So let's start off first by telling me like some epic date when you were just still in that phase of planning the date, or the date was the activity was the thing. Tell me about the most outrageous, either money or time or whatever, that you ever did to impress somebody.
Yeah, there's an actual steakhouse here in my city where I am. It's packed probably 5 times a week, especially towards the weekend. And there was this one time I planned this date so hard. You know, I was really into this woman. She's gorgeous or whatever. And I'm thinking like, okay, this is it. I make it happen. You know, I planned like, okay, I'm going to be parking here. I think the parking was something like $20, $30, something like that, valet or whatever. So at first they were like, oh, you can't have this day. Cause I was trying to get a table, trying to get the reservations. They were like, oh, you can't have this day. I was like, well, what day can I have? They're like, oh, you got to do next week. I was so hard pressed on that particular restaurant, I delayed the date.
Oh, okay. All right.
I delayed the whole date. Like I just said, hey, you know, everybody come back. Everybody come back next week. So what ended up happening was I told her that she was cool with it. So she rolled with it. You know, she was definitely like, oh, we're going to that place. Excellent. You know, I got to get dressed up. But I think it was more like 3 something. I want to say the receipt was like 356, 360, something like that. And that was just the bill. So obviously had to include a tip as well.
The parking.
Right. The parking, you know, the cleaners. So it goes on and on, you know. Took the car to Jiffy Lube.
Oh, wow.
So,
okay. All right. Yeah.
You know, it went on and on. Now, the thing is this. If you would have asked me my opinion, I thought it went very well. Right? And I'm like, hey, okay, great. But I noticed this. After that date, we probably talked on the phone like 2 more times. And then after that, it was kind of like she kind of faded away.
Uh-oh.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay, so big upfront investment with all this time and passion and energy and money.
Mm-hmm.
And it was...
And it didn't give me the results that I wanted. And I think for men, we have to stop putting the emphasis on the amount spent is going to equal her interest in me.
Well, for some women, I mean, if they're flat out looking for your net worth.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. For some women, if both parties are mutually aligned in that fashion, where she's looking for a great date like that, and he's like, hey, this is what I care about. Excellent. Yeah. But as far as a connection, as far as like knowing, hey, are we actually getting to know each other? You know, are we actually, because the first date obviously is going to dictate if you're going to have a second date. Yeah. So on that plane, that's where, you know, the focus should be. I don't know. And I always tell men this too, like, don't worry. If you have a focus, if you have a awesome personality, it'll equal an awesome time. So
Yeah.
you have to focus on you and make sure you have to be the date.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That makes sense. You have to be
You are the
be the
activity.
good time, right? Absolutely. Exactly.
Yeah.
So plan an awesome date, but don't say, okay, don't say the more I spend, the more she should be into me, because it may not work out. And a lot of times it probably won't work out the way you exactly want it to.
Yeah. So I think back over my long history of dating. And so some of the guys that were trying to do the, spend money, didn't know my background. So, I came from bodyguards, chauffeurs, and, Michelin 3-star restaurant background. So like I had all that stuff, right? First class hotels and whatever. So I don't look like that. I don't act like that. And so no clue there, right? So some of these guys would be like, oh, I'm going to take you to the best place ever. But one thing is they didn't check, was I vegetarian or anything else in that phase either. So there's nothing like taking the vegetarian girl that you don't know is a vegetarian because you haven't checked that out yet to the steakhouse. That's always fun. That's happened. And when I was vegetarian, and then, so there's all sorts of landmines in what you're saying. I had a guy who literally picked me up, his chauffeur picked me up, took me to his private jet, flew me 3 states over to have this fabulous lunch by the whatever, la, 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 right? And I'm just like, I thought it was cool. Would it be enough for me to stay with him or be interested in him if he wasn't? No. But then again, I've had that lifestyle. So you could impress somebody who hasn't had that lifestyle, but you're impressing them with the lifestyle, not who you are, right? You still have to be able to come up with something, unless, like you said, she's a sugar baby, you're a sugar daddy, whatever, then that's different. But the best day, and then there's the guys who've never been to a fancy place and they're going to take you to a fancy place and they're super awkward because they don't know how it rolls. That's always fun. I find that a little more charming, actually, because I kind of, like I said before, I tend to like guys that are a little bit awkward. So it can, all sorts of things can go wrong in lots of different ways like that. And spending money doesn't equal, like, we don't want to feel like you spend a lot of money, now we got to put out because you spent a lot of money. That doesn't feel good either, just so you know. And I had one guy once at the end of a date said, I just spent $150 because he went in for a kiss and I didn't want to kiss him. So I put my hand out and he's like, I just spent $150. And I'm like, dude, if you're paying to kiss me, it's a lot more than that. I just want you to know. So, yeah. So I think what we're saying here, one of my best dates. So all that to say, one of my best dates that I've ever had was a guy who asked me to meet him at this beach. And I got there and he said, just casual, beach casual, right? I'm like, cool. So I meet him at this beach and we stacked rocks. But while we were stacking rocks, we were having these great conversations about him, what's important to him, asking me what was important to me about things in life, like some of my dreams and, bucket lists. And I mean, he just went there, like brought him to the conversation while we were doing this cool rock. We were looking for rocks together. We were doing our own stacks and then stacking together. So we were involved in collaboration. So that's, women like that. Collaboration is one of the ways that we relate. So we were involved in collaboration. We worked well together. So now I'm learning something about him. He's super chill and funny when things go wrong. It's awesome. And he's willing to just go straight to it. Like that first date. What do you feel about kids? I mean, he's just going for it. He's not scared to say, well, I'm saying this, so that means I'm telling you I want to marry you. But he's getting real about things that are really important to him in his life and some of the challenges he's had and stuff. And we spent 5 hours stacking rocks, best date ever, no money.
Happens. It can't, there it is. It can happen. Some of my best dates have been at the park, taking and guess what? And like I said before in the other episode, people love to use liquor as a conversation piece, but use your world as a conversation piece. We're at the park. We're talking about trees. We're talking about nature. We're talking about the animals that's running through the park.
Yep.
So that's part of connection as well, is using the world to have conversation, because conversation obviously is going to be the centerpiece to connect. And that's why I'm saying men have to value yourself to value the woman, right? Got to invest in yourself to actually have that good time. That's what I'm saying. We have an awesome personality. It's easy to have an awesome time, or more easier, I should say, right? Yeah. But you mentioned something about, you know, when things being silly or awkward, or things going on a date, you're going to find out a lot about somebody when something happens like that. Like, how do they handle themselves? You know, do they take themselves so seriously? Do they go off on someone? Do they, you know, plow out and just, you know, oh, I can't believe this is happening to me?
Yeah, nothing is less attractive than a man who's frustrated by things that happen in life. You know, it's like there's that, if a man gets all aggro about something, it's not safe. It doesn't feel safe. And so if he's like chill about something, if he treats everybody around him kindly, you know, with kindness, if he doesn't get flustered about little things, that means that he's got his shit together, more than likely, on at least an emotional level. And that is highly attractive. So I enjoy dates where there might be mishaps, where things don't go smoothly, where you get lost or something like that. And it's like, I really want to know, that whole piece of connection is, I want to know this person. And I want to do that before I have sex with them. Because quite frankly, you know, I think I don't think there's anything wrong with hooking up right away, but I'll tell you what, you take on that person and everything with them when you do that. And so I actually, even though Tantra and teaching sex and whatever, I'm that person that tends to wait and not just have sex right away, no matter how attractive I think somebody is, because there's more than physical attraction that's going on there. But yeah, so how do you handle mishaps? You just roll with it.
I just roll with it, you know, make a joke of it. You know, in fact, on a date one time, the waiter actually, he was carrying one of our wines, and he spilled the wine all over the table. And of course, she's like, oh, you know, I just helped the guy clean it up. You know, got up, helped the guy clean it up, because he was so embarrassed and he was apologizing profusely, and he just felt like, oh my God, I can't believe I just spilled this expensive glass of, you know, of wine on these people's table. And I just helped him up. I didn't make a big deal about it. I wasn't even angry about it. And way down the line, she says, one of the main things that made me like you was that when that guy spilled the drink, you didn't yell at him. You didn't like embarrass him further, because he was already embarrassed himself.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, that is so. I need men to hear this right now. That story, super sexy. Listen to this, men. Woman saying, a man who handles his shit, is gracious, and even got up to help the guy, saving the guy from more embarrassment. That is super sexy. That's sexy. Not the guy who's like, what the fuck? I can't believe you did this. And, you know, he's all like aggro, like, whoa, trying to be the big man who's got it. Like, that is unattractive. Right there. So congratulations. Yay. I think that's probably some of the best dating advice that almost every man on the planet could stand to hear, is handle your shit. Like, and not in the aggressive, aggro, embarrassed, you know, this is not the time to pull out how important you are, that somebody has inconvenienced you. Not attractive. That is just so.
One of the things I tell men a lot is, nothing's embarrassing on a date. Nothing is embarrassing on a date. No matter what happens, it's embarrassing because it's embarrassing to you, right? Something's not exactly right with your shirt or something.
He stands on the front of your pants.
You think that he's like overact, you know, like, oh my God, this guy. No, it's in your head. It's mainly in your head of how embarrassed you think you are. It's nothing wrong. So you're right. You know, the guy that's going to get up and curse the wait staff out or to, go off and think. It's like, no, you're completely wasting your time and energy doing that, probably embarrassing her.
You are embarrassing her even more. But here's what the big piece is. What you're telling her is that if she makes a mistake, that you're going to do that with her. What you're saying, even more deeply than how you treat somebody else, is that we're looking at how you treat other people as a reflection of how you treat us, how you might treat your kids, how you might treat your dog, how you are moving in the world. And somebody that has road rage, somebody that, goes off on somebody that makes a mistake, somebody that can't handle their emotional landscape when something gets rough, they don't feel safe. That's just literally, and we know that judgment, like if you're sitting there judging somebody all the time, when you're on a date and you're like, I can't believe that waiter, you're judging harshly, critiquing people. We know that you will turn that lens on us.
Exactly. It's only a matter of time.
Right.
So you don't, like I said, the focus should be on you two, and what's going on at the moment. Live there. Don't be so caught up in all the other stuff or, critiquing wait staff and a whole bunch of other nonsense. But yes, I think that's all important as far as making a successful date.
Yeah. So what would you do? You're sitting across the table from your beautiful date there, and she's got a big spinach leaf stuck right there in her teeth. What do you do?
I have had this situation a couple of times, right? And I just plainly let her know.
Yeah.
I just let her know, not in a critical way, just I'm like, oh my God, I can't believe you got this in your teeth. Jesus Christ, you're embarrassing me. No, I literally would just let her know in a calm tone that she has that.
Yeah.
And that'll be end of it. And I might make a joke about it way later.
Yeah. Right. Because you can make it charming, like, yeah, I love your lips so much. And it goes really great with that green spinach that's sticking right out there.
Exactly.
Artful way to say that. Right. So how we treat other people, how we treat ourselves, how we treat the people around us. I look when I'm on a date, I'm actually looking for those kind of cues, not only like how connected I am, but what's happening around us, how that person's treating other people, whether or not they're chill with things that are going on. Sometimes I'll create something that goes wrong just because I want to actually see what's happening. That is a huge indicator for me. And so I'd rather things were a little awkward and things kind of, somebody spilled something, whatever, because that gives me just so much information about how this person is, especially since I know first dates can be like super awkward and weird anyway, at least for me. And then, if it's fun, if that awkwardness translates into fun, I know this person's going to be fun in the bedroom, fun in other places. They're not going to be so tightly wound that everything has to be perfect, because
absolutely.
Right.
Have fun. I think that's the key. Be relaxed, be chill. Don't get so tense. Because she's going to match your energy, and if you're tense, and then she's going to be worried about, okay, why is this guy being so tense? It's super guarded and acting like you're holding the secrets of the world. And
that is scary. That's scary for us. That alerts our nervous system that something's wrong. And so you're going to get a woman who's like on edge because you're not relaxed. So the more relaxed you are and calm you are, the more relaxed, as you said, matching. So is there a subject that you consider off limits on a first date?
From man to woman?
Yeah.
Oh, wow. I'm not going to say any subject is off limits. There's certain subjects probably you don't want to go into per se, but first date, just met you, probably going to not talk about politics, unless you're a political figure or something like that. And, then of course I'll probably make jokes about that. But as far as the intricacies of certain like politics, I rather steer away unless I know for sure from maybe a profile or something that you do that, or you're well entrenched in that field or something. But to me personally, there's nothing off topic, nothing, off limits. It's just maybe there are certain topics to steer away from, but no, essentially.
Yeah, I think the only topic that I haven't welcomed on a date is the constant reference to how crazy the ex was. So,
right.
So it's cool to hear that, you have an ex. Most of us have exes at a certain point. Some of us have tragedy. Some of it was great. But the big turnoff to me would definitely be the, oh my God, I can't believe my ex fucked me over like that. And then she fucked me over like that. And then she's crazy ass. Actually, all my exes are crazy. I don't know what happened to them. That just tells me that you make people crazy. But
right. Exactly.
So, being divorced or that it was painful or whatever, no problem. But I think steering clear, if you're still angry about your ex, you're still frustrated about your ex, you still and that means that you're still not over that situation.
Right.
That probably.
Well, you bring up a good point. I would definitely say, like any bad past experiences, don't be so quick to reference them or bring them up, because it's a first date. It's not your therapist. So shouldn't be hearing like these traumatizing things that happened to you, at whatever age, and like she's figuring it out for you or something like that. Or especially when you mention things like, oh, my ex did that. Yeah, she used to overcook food, and they overcook food at the restaurant. See, this is why I don't date.
Yeah. So it's not that women, we do want to know all of your stuff, but the first date, especially the ex, I would say I would probably, in my line of work, almost everybody goes into their trauma. The first date, everybody's telling me their trauma because of what I do for a living. The conversation will get, not that they want to, it ends up going there. So I'm okay with that. But the ex thing, how crazy the ex was, how screwed up the ex was, how she screwed you over, and all the rest of this tells me that you're still angry, you're still frustrated about it, and you haven't worked it out.
Mm-hmm.
That means you're bringing that energy into our experience.
Mm-hmm.
And it's going to be part of our experience. And so That's a little bit like, oh yeah, okay, I'm not just signing up for you, I'm signing up for you and your ex.
Exactly. And another thing too is watch your triggers. Women can tell that by too. Let's say she just mentioned something, and you're like, it reminds you of your ex, and then next thing you know, you start twitching out, and you're like holding the fork, and you're twitching the fork, like, oh, so
get it together. So like, get some help. Go
see someone if you need to. Talk to someone before, because you're meeting a new human being. This person doesn't know you. They don't know anything about you. They just came out to have fun. They agreed to have fun with you. That's what a first date is. So when you turn it into this, episode, where you're spazzing out, then like, oh God, geez, check please. I have to get out of
here. Right. And speaking of check, how do we handle that in modern dating? The whole check thing. Is it like, as a man, you should be, is it whoever asks the other person out? Is it the man should be going for his wallet and she can say, yeah, no, I want to go half? What do you think? What are you telling men?
I tell men, hey, most of the time the men ask the woman on the date, so you should pay. You should go ahead and not have any type of being uptight about it or holding a grudge. Go ahead and pay, because it's your experience to create. Part of that experience is just paying it, just not feeling any type of way. Another thing too is check your emotions about money before dating. You know how you feel about spending money. If you know you're that type of guy, then ask yourself, should you be going on dates? Don't go on dates and then get the check and, like I said, have an episode about it.
Right. Exactly. Yeah, I think we're all a little confused about that. I know women who are like, no, I don't let a man pay for me. I go Dutch because I don't want to be obligated to him, which is a sad state of affairs, that women feel like if a man pays for a date, we have some type of obligation. We didn't come by that naturally, that we were taught that. So that's a little bit sad. I do believe that, if a man takes me on a date, he asks me out and he pays for it, then I'm going to ask him out and pay for that. I have had some men refuse to ever, let me pay, but I also feel like there's something about that too. So one of the things I always want to know is that the man isn't dating outside his means. I don't want to feel that. I'd rather if a guy didn't have a lot of cash, he was like, hey, love to take you out. Let's go to a park, have a picnic. Let's do that. Just do something within your budget. If she cares about your financial situation, you better find that out up front. Right?
Absolutely. Yes.
Yeah.
Early. If her idea of how much money you need to make for her to have a good time, or for her to live, or her to sleep with you, or her to go out with you, it's something to know. And I don't, everybody has their standard of whatever that is. I'm the one that's used to making all the money. So that's always been a weird thing for me. Like, oh, who's paying for this? How's this getting paid for? And what does this all mean? I think that, like I said, check your emotions about money. Check it. Don't wait until you're on a date and then feel some type of way, or, whatever. Check how you are before dating. And you mentioned about like the going Dutch thing. If you ask the woman out, I feel like you should pay. Don't go Dutch with her. Don't. And another thing too is, I always say this: because you said the things to not bring up. Don't joke about obligation sex.
Oh my God.
Don't make her feel all weird and cringy. You know what I'm saying? Because some guys do they show the check to the girl. They're like, see what I'm doing for you?
Really?
Absolutely.
Oh, wow. Oh, yeah. Well, so the word you brought up, cringy, I am going to totally validate that. Gentlemen, who hope you're hearing here. Cringy was exactly how I'd feel if some guy's like showing me the check, insists on paying, grabs it, then showing it to me and telling me, don't worry, you don't have to have sex with me just because I laid down this $60. Yo, cringy. So cringy. That's when I tell him, it's okay, I didn't charge you. I'm not charging you for the $150 for the therapy for this last hour either.
It's like they'll say something like $20 more and we would have had to go to my place.
Oh my God. Really? I come back to that would be, no, you can't afford me. Wow. Okay. Well, I can say that I have never had I haven't had those two things happen. I feel a little ripped off now. I would have really enjoyed to have a comeback to that. No, I have not had that happen. Yes. Okay. That is great advice. Do not do that. No cringy. So check your emotions about money before you date means also that you're a financially responsible person to yourself. Like you're not throwing way more money than you could ever afford to go on a date to try to impress somebody who may or may not do anything and then be pissed off about it. Date in your means, right, is what I'm saying.
Date within your means. If you know you can only afford a $50 date, that's fine. It doesn't make you less than that. You can't afford a $200 date. It doesn't mean that. That's what I mean. Check your emotions, because if you're feeling all sad on the date because you couldn't go to the steakhouse, she's going to read that. She's going to see that. And most importantly, she's going to feel that, and it's going to internalize it, and it's going to dictate the success of the date. So, like I said, value yourself so you can value the woman. Because if you don't value yourself, it's going to show, and it's going to affect your success with women.
I do love that, the valuing yourself. Okay, so let's wrap this up with the dating do's, don'ts, and overall. Let's give the success recipe. So if a man is dating, what are the things other than validating himself? I mean, valuing himself, but break it down simply. What's the most important thing when you're dating, going on that date?
I think the most important thing is investing in you, right? Awesome personality. It's easy to have an awesome time, right? Beyond that, date within your means. Don't feel bad if you can't afford a top tier 5-6 star place. Don't put yourself down about that. Be at ease. Don't be so critical, judgmental of what's going on. Let the mishaps happen. Let the awkward situations happen. You can laugh about it. You both can enjoy each other. Because remember, she's looking at you, how you handle yourself in certain situations. Be kind to people that are being of service to you. That's also, being looked at. So that's something I think you should take on going on a date. And of course, I feel like if you're going to ask her out, go ahead and pay and, check your emotions about dating, about money before you start dating.
Yeah, absolutely. And pay a little bit less attention, to all of the seduction community's ideas about dating. I'm going to tell you right now, lean into what Sniper had for you there. And then also, please don't manage us as women, meaning that you think all of us want to go on expensive dates. Things like that, because not every woman, like, I can afford to take myself out anywhere I want. That's not what impresses me. I would not rather do that. I'd rather go like to the park or stack rocks or do something strange and interesting that I haven't done before. And so know your audience.
There you go. Exactly.
So you need to, when you meet somebody and you want to take them out, you absolutely have to spend a few minutes and moments a week, something, getting a flavor of what this woman is about. Not every woman wants flowers. They make me depressed because they die. I don't like that. I like a single flower if I'm going to get flowers. But just so every woman's different. And by you taking an interest in her pre-date, your date's going to be better, because if she's vegan, vegetarian, whatever, all of these things make a difference. So just have a pre-date conversation.
I got one more for you.
Yes.
What I say is that first phone call, the first time you talk to her on the phone, I ask a woman, are you allergic to anything? Do you have any bad reactions to certain foods? Right.
Yeah. How awesome is that? You want to know if she's going to have anaphylactic shock when you just took her to this restaurant that has peanuts and everything. Killing your date on the first date, not a good life plan. I'm just saying. Okay. All right, guys. So hopefully you got something out of this. I think that whole first date and getting into the dating scene is seriously weird anyway and awkward for a lot of people. And yes, doing it more and more helps. And sometimes it just is awkward. And so lean into your ability to just handle stuff that comes up. I would say the sexiest thing a man can ever do on a date is handle his own shit and be kind to other people. That is absolutely a winner. So we will see you in the next episode. We're out.